Hey guys, my name's Mike Martinez and I own one of the biggest debt collection agencies on the West Coast, NPG Associates. My wife Natalie and I also do real estate investing, and we own a data skip tracing company for real estate investors. We also have call centers. We offer telemarketing and cold calling for the real estate industry and the home services industries to generate leads. Today I'm gonna be sharing some of my operation with you. I'm gonna be showing you my headquarters, and I'm gonna be sharing some very exciting news with you. Follow me, let me show you. So this is our headquarters. I'm located in Ontario. We have 11,000 square feet, starting off with the entrance to our private offices. We have a small interview room, and here I have our core values: inspiration, accountability, transparency, alignment, discipline, and results. You're gonna see that we're already in the Halloween spirit, and I made sure that my leadership team was already preparing for an amazing October Halloween spirit. We have a huge IT room there. This is NPG Associates department. This is just dedicated to debt collections for businesses. As you can see, like I said, we're already in the Halloween spirit. You'll meet a couple of my leaders very soon. They're on the phones managing their teams right now in executive meetings, but you can see that we're obviously in the Halloween spirit. This is a training office right here for some of our new hires. They have to come through the training office before they can make it out to the other floors. Some of my more seasoned collectors are in this bullpen right here. As you can see, we got some of the deadliest collectors in the game. Behind me, you have some of the best collectors and closers in the debt collection industry. If any of you have businesses that need a collection agency because your accounts receivables department is suffering and you have clients or customers that owe you money and you just don't know how to get it back, these guys will get your money back. Let me show you my office. Michael Martinez, CEO, one of the deadliest CEOs in the game. And this is my office. This is where I run almost 200 team members. I have several companies, as I mentioned, and I have at least 20 managers on payroll. I don't call them managers, I call them leaders, because they help me run all of my companies and our organization as a whole, and they're responsible for the real magic. And here along this hallway, we have our executive offices. We have Natalie, my co-CEO and Chief Operating Officer. I have an Executive Director of Administration, my Vice President of Operations, my Media Manager's office, just a private stash for the CEO and the family, some of my executives that are family. Here we have our studio. And this is where I record content to be able to deliver valuable information to those that follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. This is where I create most of my content to feed you that valuable information that'll hopefully help you. Let me start off by saying that I was born and raised in East LA, like most Mexican Americans in California. I was born to two beautiful Mexican parents. Mom is from Tijuana, Mexico. My dad, God rest his soul, passed away at only 32 years old. He was from Culiacan, Sinaloa. And again, like every typical Mexican American, I was born and raised in East LA, born in General Hospital in the heart of LA. And growing up as a teenager, as a kid, I had it really rough. Like, we had drive-bys in our house. Our apartment building would get shot up. I remember one morning, my mom's Toyota, old Toyota, fucking bullet holes in the car. And we woke up to that kind of stuff. My older brother was transitioning from junior high to high school during those years. And I remember just being a small kid growing up in this environment. So hardcore, that Mexican East LA Chicano bullshit. And as a teenager, we started moving. When my dad passed, my mom remarried my stepdad, and we started moving out towards the San Gabriel Valley, more towards the Inland Empire. So we ended up in Baldwin Park. My mom and my stepdad bought a house there when I was around 12, 13 years old, just going into from elementary to junior high. And it wasn't as rough as East LA. East LA was fucking battle zone. Baldwin Park was a lot nicer. I got to play a little bit of sports. I got to have a normal childhood until I fucked it up myself trying to rebel. At 15, 16 years old, I started smoking weed. I started experimenting, sniffing meth, trying a little bit of cocaine. And it got really bad at, 18. I graduated because my mom was going to disown me if I didn't graduate high school. So I went to continuation and I graduated from Mountain View High School in El Monte, California. And that's really when I, went off the wall and kind of, fell off the rocker. And I started smoking crystal meth. And that's really what fucked me up. I used to drink, I used to smoke a lot of weed, and I started smoking crystal meth at 18, hanging around with the gangsters, with the wrong crowd, and doing a bunch of stupid things that I don't want to go into detail, but you can only imagine. El Monte, California. This was like in the early 2000s, not a fun place to be. I think it's gotten a lot better, but that's kind of like my childhood and my teenage years. I went to rehab at 21 years old. I was pretty strung out on crystal meth, and my older brother was a Marine. He had just got out of doing his service, and he was a manager at Longo Lexus in El Monte. Very, very good job. He was a service manager there, and mom told him, come and help me with your brother. He's all strung out on crystal meth. I need your help. My brother didn't believe it till he seen it. So they immediately took me to live with my brother for a few weeks. I'm 21 years old. They put me in a rehab. And just after a month sober, I'm like, what am I doing in here? I had a burning desire to make money. I felt this crazy ambition in my stomach. And I always said as a kid that I would be rich one day. So I felt like that desire coming back because now I'm starting to get level-headed. I'm starting to be more clear-minded. So I'm off drugs. I'm not drinking anymore. I'm not smoking weed anymore. I'm not doing crystal meth anymore. After just 30 days, I started feeling clear. So that ambition started burning, and I checked myself out of rehab, 21, 22 years old. And I had some sales experience as a kid. I did telemarketing. I did door knocking. I worked at a property management company at just 17 years old. So I looked for a sales position, and I got a couple of jobs at some furniture stores as a salesperson. And long story short, I ended up in debt collections. This is when my life really changed. In 2007, a young lady got hired at the collection agency where I was working at. Her name is Natalie. And when she got hired, it was my job to train her as a new collector because I was one of the top performers. So they used me to train new collectors when they came in. And she was recently going through a separation or through a divorce. So we started dating, and I just thought when I seen her, I'm like, oh my God, this woman is so beautiful. Like, if I get an opportunity to date her, I'm gonna take her serious. And if we end up getting into a serious relationship, I want to marry this girl one day. And I promised myself that if that happened, I would do everything in my power to take care of her, to try to be the best man possible. So that's exactly what ended up happening. I married this beautiful young woman of my dreams. Now, it wasn't smooth sailing right out the get-go. We went through a lot of ups and downs together. And I'll share more, but this is a brand new podcast. This is not your typical podcast, by the way. This is not a podcast where I'm gonna be inviting people that are distinguished and that have done great things to talk about themselves and their journey. This is gonna be me sitting down with young business owners and young entrepreneurs and helping them get to from where they're at to where they wanna get to. It's gonna be getting my team to sit down and talk about our operations, our leadership team, sit down and talk about how we run our businesses here. So I currently own and operate as CEO several companies. The first one is our debt collection agencies. I say agencies, I say plural, not singular, because I have 3 companies. And the first company is a monster. We did 18.5 million last year in annual revenue. The other companies do about $100,000 to $200,000 a month. So we're projected just with collections to do over $20 million, $20 to $22 million of annual revenue this year in 2024. And I also own and operate with Natalie as CEO. We run a real estate investing company where we do at least about $1 million a year with very high profit margins. I also own a skip tracing company for real estate investors and for entrepreneurs in the home services space to find homeowners and generate leads. It's a skip tracing company called Dataskip.io. We also have a couple of call centers where we provide telemarketing and cold call services for real estate investors and also for businesses in the home services space like solar, roofing, air conditioning, pest control, landscaping, alarms, I mean, you name it. We're a lead generation company for them through pulling list of homeowners, getting it skip trace, getting those phone numbers, and calling them with our call centers with our experienced and highly skilled telemarketers. We're estimated to forecast about over $25 million in revenue this year. So what I want to do is I want to sit down with entrepreneurs and business owners that may be struggling to go from $100,000 to $200,000 of annual revenue to over $1 million of annual revenue. Or maybe there's business owners and entrepreneurs that are trying to figure out how to go from 1 million to 5 million in annual revenue, all the way up to 25 million. I can show you exactly what I've done and how we operate our companies to get to $25 million. Now, I've spent about $1.3 million up to this point in the last few years in mentors and coaches and self-development, events, seminars, I mean, you name it. I've been coached by some of the biggest names. Some of the most impactful mentors in my life have been people like Grant Cardone and Brandon Dawson, who's a business genius at scaling, by the way. And one of the most exciting things when thinking about your why is your family. Like, why do I work so hard? Why am I so addicted to self-development and being 1% better than I was yesterday every single day? Why? Why do I do it? Why am I so obsessed and why do I drive myself so crazy? It's because of my wife and my kids. So Natalie is my rock. Natalie is my why, her and the kids. When I think of Natalie, I think of her and the kids together as one because they're my superpower. They're the energy and they're the genius that's allowed me to accomplish everything that I've accomplished in the last few years. Just in 2019, I was going bankrupt. And my biggest fear was letting them down, letting Natalie down. She's such an amazing, beautiful human being. And so are my kids that I would hate to let them down. That's the worst thing that I can ever imagine in life. Even worse than death is letting them down. So that's my main why. That's why I work so hard. And Natalie is so intelligent. She has such amazing discernment and such a great heart. I'm surprised when she tells me, be careful with that person because she has such a warm spirit, such an amazing heart that when she tells me to be careful with somebody, it's like, for her to say that, I really need to be careful with that person. So, my kids, they're so innocent. My son is 15, my daughter's 13, my other son's 20. So our kids are just so innocent. They're just great kids. And they're my why. They are my why. So I'm excited to share my journey with you. You're going to witness how I'm going to go from $25 million of annual revenue to $100 million in annual revenue in my businesses in just the next few years. And I'm excited to share that journey with you and share my insights and show you how I'm doing it. I'm going to show you the ins and outs, my personal life, my business life. And all I want is to be a positive impact, to be an inspiration. I live by core values. And I want to show you, the discipline that it takes to ultimately get those results. So I look forward to seeing you here every single Monday on Mondays with Mike.